Hey, hey, hey! Happy Friday! Welcome to another edition of Nyki Elle in Conversation with. It is Friday, April 8th, or May 8th. I'm sorry, May 8th. So, really excited about today's show. We have author, founder of Nighttime Stories for Adults, Jelani Curtis, who will be joining me today. So we're going to call him in soon, but hopefully you guys have had a great week. Hopefully it's been productive enough. You know, we have to remind ourselves to be kind to ourselves, but hopefully it's been a really good, productive week. I think my week has gone pretty well, which I'm glad about. Sometimes there's sluggish weeks, but today is a good week. It's a little hot in my apartment, so if you can hear the ceiling fan, I apologize. But let's get it started. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Let me add him in now. Here we go. All right. Just a few moments and we should be looping him in right now. And, oh, did I do that wrong? Let me try this one more time. Still new here, so a few technical difficulties sometimes. Let's see if I add in Nighttime Stories. Okay, hopefully he will get the invitation. There we go. Waiting. Cool. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, what's up, Nikki?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Yeah. It's like rainy in New York. Very hot though in my apartment, so I'm glistening a little bit.
Yeah, that muggy weather isn't good.
Yeah, I know. And I have some tea. My voice has been a little weird today, so I have tea on hand. But how are you? How's LA?
LA is great. I mean, it's like 90 degrees, so sunny.
Oh, just
terrible,
sunny.
Terrible
That's
out.
all.
Horrible.
That's all.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of feel like I almost have to bring on my AC unit. Starting to get to that point, but
okay.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we have better weather coming. I heard flurries here tomorrow. Only a few, but it's reminding me of like Detroit weather, not New York weather. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But flurries in May is weird for New York.
Yeah, I'm off of that. I deliberately left.
Had to go. Had to go.
Time to go.
Yes. Okay, so first question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
As a creative person, what are 3 words you'd use to describe yourself, or your point of view, your outlook? How would you describe yourself?
How I describe myself as a creative person?
Yeah, creative.
Good question. I would like to think of myself as being innovative. Trying to whatever I'm doing, trying to come at it from a different approach. I think another way I look at it is, as a creative person, you got to be vulnerable. Like if you're creating things, for the public to see, you kind of have to put it out there.
Yeah.
And kind of be ready or be as prepared as possible to take critique.
Yep.
And I don't know. I guess I say different. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what a third one would be.
That's all right. Those are good. Those are really good ones. I definitely like that you said vulnerability, because I think no matter what, not just as a creative, but so many people are afraid to be that. Yeah. So I think the fact that you like tap into it, like you said, accept, criticism or at least people's critiques, like you said, I think that's super important.
Yeah, if you hear a FedEx truck, and that's FedEx. That's not me.
That's okay. No problem. Okay, well, I'm super excited to talk about your latest project.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, Jelani is the mind behind Nighttime Stories for Adults. So definitely want to talk about the brand in general, and then want to get into 360s as well. But can you tell us a little bit about your brand for people who don't know?
Sure, yeah. So the brand is called Nighttime Stories for Adults. The whole concept of it is being able to break up the monotony that adulthood has a tendency to bring. I've noticed over the years, there's so many of us that read things like, how to invest in our 401k, or, how to whatever, how to fill in the blank. So
Right.
it feels like there's so many self-help type of books, but that we can't like we seem to have lost the just pure storytelling, the joy of reading that we had when we were kids. So it's kind of just a flip on that. You know, we all know about bedtime stories, nighttime stories. So it's kind of a flip on that, but for us who have to pay rent, you know, every month.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool. How
Yeah.
did you first start it?
I first started by writing a book. So it was writing a book before the company. So it was
Okay.
almost like so my nephew, who's like my brother, Jonathan, he I was talking to him about the story about the Dragon Slayer, which was the first book,
Right.
and as I was developing that, and I started thinking about this aspect of, oh, okay, the tone feels like a adult nighttime story. So what if I wrote just one book, you know, for every day of the week? So seven books. And he was like, why don't you just create a company and pretty much you know you put a stakehold on that type of genre in general.
Yeah.
It's like you might be onto something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, so then I started going about creating the whole company. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, shout out to all of our friends who are joining. We saw you.
Yeah.
We see
I see
y'all.
it. I see a few.
If anyone has questions, feel free to throw them in too. But so you started the company. So can you talk a little bit about your journey? Because you self-published, correct?
Yep. So
So
it
like
is a
your journey
published company.
deciding to do that. Yeah.
Yep. My full-time job is I'm an art director in the advertising world.
Oh,
I've
awesome.
been doing it for about 12 years, and between New York and LA for the last 6 years. So in that process or in that job field, it is very hard to get ideas out, especially great ideas, you know, whether it's commercials, print ads, experiential ideas, whatever. So with creating this company, I really wanted to create something where essentially I didn't have to go through anybody. There's nobody who's telling me no. You know,
Right.
so literally, if I want to scribble on a sheet of paper or jot down some gibberish, I could put it out tomorrow if I wanted to. And I wanted to just have that freedom to be able to release release work, really.
Awesome. Yeah.
Uh, and then, like, I think the other thing too is that um, the publishing model publishing business is very much like a business of gatekeepers. You know, for any writers to be signed on to Random House, your Penguins, or anything like that, you have to have, you know, credits, or you have to be, you know, approved, and, you know, all that type of stuff. So my thing is like, what if I create a company where not only I could put out my books or stories, but what if I could, you know, put my people on? You know, what if all my boys are, you know, now walking around as authors? You know what I mean?
Right.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, that's dope.
So, you know, I've kind of been talking to some of them about some ideas for future books. So, you know, you're about to have author gang out here for sure.
Yes, I'm excited for that.
Yep.
Okay, so we got a question.
Yep.
From KWO. Jelani, do you have your next book idea?
I have some thoughts, but nothing yet. You know, I feel like what are like standard like music artist answers like, yeah, you know, I kind of got to live a little bit. You know what I mean? I got to just let it come to me. You know, so yeah, I don't have any thoughts just yet. Nothing worth sharing, but soon
Okay.
I hope. Yeah.
Cool. I'm trying to figure out how to pin your contact info on here. I haven't quite mastered that yet.
Oh, good.
So that's what I'm doing over here. But also, let's talk about your latest project, though, because you have a recent release out.
Yeah. It's
360.
360s is the name of the book. 360s meaning 360,
Mm-hmm.
360 waves. Yeah, it's a book about a high school kid who's pursuing getting 360 waves because he finds out that if you get them, you get a wish granted. So he's like starting to see these amazing things going on in the city of Detroit for some reason. Uh, and yeah, he starts seeing these things. It's like, all right, I know what I need to do so I can get my wishes granted. So yeah, so it was kind of a thing of growing up and seeing, you know, having waves at some point. I'm not even gonna dare to show you my hair right now because it's just
It's
I
rough
actually
out
got
here.
like a full-on ponytail.
I
That's
definitely have a headband right now.
Yeah.
So I know.
So, but yeah, growing up, seeing people, having waves, wearing do-rags, a bunch of my boys, going through that process, it kind of, as I was thinking about the story, it was like, why was everybody, pursuing this thing? Like, what was that about? So the answer for me with this story is, maybe there's a wish attached to it. You actually get 360s and you get a wish.
That's awesome. Are any of the characters based off of people you know, or did you kind of make all of them up?
Some are based off people I know. So a lot of it has to do, like, I borrow from different people. I have people that I grew up like in my neighborhood in Detroit. Some siblings like might be in there or semblance. Is that a word? Resemblance or semblance?
Yes, resemblance is a word.
Resemblance of my siblings, are in there, whether it's like partial names or partial characteristics or traits. And then there's like if you know me, then you can find like almost like the little bit of like, decoding with, certain people's, it might be a parent's name that's paired with, that high school kid or something like that. So, yeah. But long and short of it, yes, there's people that I know who are seen throughout the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Looks like my dad's watching. Hey, Dad, he has a question. Do you have a process to overcome writer's block?
Well, I don't know if I don't have like it written down what the process would be, but I guess.
Have you experienced
it? Yeah. It's tough. I think sometimes it's like thinking about creative juices, like, it's almost like this glass of water or something. Like sometimes it's super full and you're just ready to go, and sometimes it's depleted. So it's kind of like you need to find other ways of like refueling, so that you can have more things that you can have more things to release. Like it's almost like if you don't have the energy, you can't put it out. So. Right. So with those things, I watch a lot of music videos, read like inspiring. I love interviews, so I watch and read a bunch of interviews, like anything that can kind of get me in that zone. And then sometimes it's like other things. Sometimes it's just like writing, even if it's gibberish. Like sometimes you just need to get that out, and then you get to a good place. So yeah, those are usually the things that I do, to get out of it.
Right. Okay, next question. What are sources of motivation for you, given you create ideas for a living? Which is actually where I was going, so thank you for that, Bilal.
Question again. We'll say, what are some sources of motivation for you, given you create ideas for a living?
Yeah, so essentially, like, as a creative, because I also freelance as a copywriter in the ad agency, so we get paid by them to come up with ideas for those clients. How do you not, or how do you stay motivated for your own work?
It's interesting. It's like, to me, like I remember reading something a while ago, and there was a guy that works in advertising. He was saying if you're creating ads, try to look at something that has nothing to do with advertising. So, like if you're watching sports, that might be able to inspire something for that advertising piece. If you're writing something, like some other visual component or music might be able to help with the writing. So, because like the brain is a weird thing, the brain knows what needs to get done, but when you're not as focused on the actual thing, it happens to pull from different sources when when you're kind of in like the subconscious space. You know? I don't know if that really answered the question or not.
Yeah, no, I think so. It made sense. Bilal let us know if it didn't answer, but I think it was good.
I think I did, so whatever.
So did you always know that you wanted to become an author?
No, it's funny because if you ask my mom, she'd be like, I was worried about that boy. I didn't know he, because I have, I have a twin brother, Bilal, as you know, and Kamal was older than me about 2 years, and my nephew Jonathan is younger, 2 years. So the four of us essentially grew up together. But when it was like reading time, I would be walking around just like head in the sky, whistling, stuff like that. I was never sitting there like
Right.
reading a book. But my memory was always really good. So, if my mom like skipped a page because she's trying to get us to sleep, I'm like, "Nah, mom, that's not what the Berenstain Bears did. That ain't what they did." Uh, you know, Cat in the Hat. Nope, that ain't what the cat did. You know what I mean? Like it's so it was a thing of I was kind of finding my own special way of like learning, I guess, how to read, like,
Yeah.
or how to read and write. So, but after I started getting into more like visual things, um, it was like I don't want to just be like seen as like some dumb artist or something. Maybe I should, kind of focus on some other like linguistic skills.
Yes. Yep.
So
Yeah. Both of your brothers are watching. They definitely say you hated reading.
I did, absolutely. But the funny thing is, like, I think it's an advantage right now because I actually come into it thinking about people who also hate reading. So I try to
Yes.
think about, you know, almost like average, creating it for me, marketing it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I feel like if I can get through the book and if I'm being honest with myself and getting through the book with relative ease and I feel excited getting through it, then I think that, others can enjoy it, which is I think good.
Yeah. It's great. It's not just good. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good. Well, I asked you if there's an excerpt you would like to read from 360s just to give people a little bit of a taste of the story and kind of see where it's
Yeah.
going.
I think I have an excerpt. I was going through it last night, and I was trying to figure out things that wouldn't spoil the story, but things that would, kind of give you a good sense of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So just to set it up a little bit, I kind of told you about what 360 is about. The name of the main character, his name is Latif, which happens to be my middle name.
Okay.
So this is an excerpt from 360s. Latif had to take the bus home, but he was excited when he finally arrived. The medium soft brush sat on the side of the bathroom sink. His silky do-rag hung on the towel rack, and his can of Murray's was in hand, ready to unlock like a cream-filled Oreo. Teef! Yelled his mom from downstairs. His full name wasn't called, so he knew he wasn't in trouble. Yes? He yelled back. Come take this trash out. You know it's garbage pickup tomorrow. Latif sat down the Murrays, ran downstairs, took the bag out of the can, ran out the back door, threw the bag into the already full garbage bin, opened the gate, rolled the bin to the curb, closed the gate, closed the back door, put a new bag into the can, climbed 2 stairs at a time to get back to the bathroom, quickly washed his hands, and then picked up the can of Murray's. After catching his breath, he looked himself in the mirror and popped open the Murray's. Suddenly, a concentrated stream of smoke spiraled out of the orange can and morphed into a translucent, ghost-like man. This was the genie that Aaron, one of Latif's childhood friends, told him about, but he was still startled nonetheless. Good evening, sir. I am Murray. The genie, right? Interrupted Latif. Well, some people refer to me as the wave genie or even the wave god, but I prefer the wave guide. I'm here to assist you in your wave endeavors. And that's the excerpt from the book.
Thank you. Yes, my friend Drew at the Drew Black said he loved the descriptions, and I agree that part. I felt when I was reading it, like I felt his like, dang, like he was excited. He was about to get everything. He had his
Yeah.
do-rag, and then like as parents do, literally mess up everything.
Interrupt your fun.
You have to do the chore. You got to run. You got to come back.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Allison liked the narration. So yeah, it was great. And I think that the other thing I was going to say is, to me, your descriptions were so vivid in that like I didn't try and get waves when I was in high school. Like I had long hair, but just
Yeah.
I felt like I knew it. Like, okay, you got to get the do-rag, you got to have the brush, you
Right.
got to have like. I
Yeah.
really appreciated those details. Like you were so specific.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was trying to take people into that world because I mean, not just Detroit, but I know that this is such a specific, nuanced, I guess cultural relevancy or whatever. So it was like trying to get people into that world who might not have anything, to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, so that was definitely intentional. So I'm glad that came across.
Yeah, it definitely did. And so to that end, do you only want to speak to people who are like, oh, 360s, I know exactly what you mean, or are you trying to like, welcome anyone into this world?
It was more so, I've talked to Bilal about this when I was kind of creating the book, and he read one of the drafts, and he was like, I think that it's going to be kind of a nice um, nostalgia piece for people who know about that, wave getting world, wearing do rags, brushing their hair, having a do rag under under your hoodie or knit hat, whatever it is. But it's also can be kind of informative and kind of welcoming, other people to this world who have no clue. 'Cause I
Yeah.
have, coworkers and people that I've gone to school with who know nothing about waves. Uh, but I kind of looked at it, and I've used the example before. It's like if you can watch Finding Nemo and sympathize or empathize with a fish, you should be able to empathize and kind of understand this story. So, you know,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, my dad even said he used to use Murray's when he was growing up, so that was great.
hey, I
And
mean, he
then,
probably got the same can from
yeah,
back in the day. That stuff don't run out.
yeah, probably so.
Yep.
Yes, New York Troy, my cousin, said you amazingly captured wave culture. It was definitely a thing in Harlem.
Appreciate
Drew
it.
said the
Sir.
story is like half his life. Bilal said it's poetic. Like this is awesome. So I'm super
Oh,
excited.
he just throwing out. He just gassing out. Talking about poet. I don't think it's but yeah.
So it's great. It's great. Just
Yeah.
for everyone tuning in, if you missed the beginning, I'm here with Jelani Curtis, who is the founder of Nighttime Stories for Adults, which is the IG handle. And we're talking about his second book, 360s. That's what the excerpt you just heard. Definitely you should check it out. Where can they get it while we're here?
So you can get it, the link in my bio, which will take you to Apple Books. So currently it exists as an ebook.
Okay.
So you can find it on Apple Books. You can find it on Kindle, the Barnes and Noble Nook app. If you have a library card and you go to your online, you can search for it through there. So it's available through most libraries. Um, so yeah, it's available in a lot of different places. It might be on the black market right now, some USB drive. So it's kind of just like ask around. You should be able to find it.
Awesome. So I will say this was the first ebook that I downloaded. I
Thank
am
you.
very much like tangible. I'm gonna get it and read it, but
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed reading it on my iPad. So
nice. Appreciate
it
it.
introduced me
Were you
to a whole new world.
were you able to see any of the animations that they
I
moved?
know, but it
Uh,
might not be you. It might be because I have an old iPad. So
uh,
now that you say that, I'm gonna look at it on my phone because my phone is way newer. So
okay.
I'll go back. I saw the illustrations, but I didn't see them animate.
It's
So
a couple. It's a lot of static illustrations, but then
uh-huh.
there's a few where it's like, you have like a couple where it's a guy like taking off his do rag, so you see the motion of it, or a person like brushing their waves with their hands. So it's a
Okay.
few. Cool ones in there. Yep.
Okay. Kamal wants to know if you have hardcovers available.
Not right now. Not right now, but there's definitely a plan for that coming out this year. So I'm working on something where it's like I keep hearing, "Where's the physical copy, man? I don't read books. Where's the physical?" I'm like, I know. I trust me. I know. I promise you, when you get them, that is going to be well worth it to get the physical box set.
Okay. Are you going to do something similar to how you do with the Dragon Slayer, which was looked like a very big labor of love. Like you hand bound.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be something with the same like quality and craft to it.
Okay.
Not sure if I'm gonna hand make all of these again,
Okay.
um, because my hands were like hurt after it.
How
Uh,
many did you do?
25.
Oh wow! And
Yeah,
you were like literally cutting the fabric, right? Like.
I was cutting the fabric. I was, spray mounting the board. I was stitching the signatures together, gluing down the end pages.
Well, you did it
Having
all.
to having to make sure the pages are actually in order. So after it was done, it doesn't, the first page isn't actually the last page. So it was a pain for real. But
Yeah.
I actually have one right here if you want to.
Yes, please. We'd love to see. I love that you put that personalization in it, even though it was, a huge labor of love. That the people who bought those 25, like not many people can say they have a hard copy, but also that you actually put it together.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, that was so this is the book. This is the Dragon Slayer physical copy.
So
Um, so
yes.
it's you know actual dragon skin,
Wow.
or I won't say actual dragon skin, but it's something like dragon skin.
Yeah.
Uh, and each book, everybody got something different. So some people got like the schematics for how the book like the
Oh
dimensions
wow.
their specific book with like a signature on it,
Yeah.
um, and with a special note to them, like thanking them for the book. Some people got like some of the rough drawings that were in it, like some rough illustrations, or like the pen I used to draw it. So
That's
yeah, I try to make it like special for everyone, just so it it's something that they have as a keepsake.
Yeah, it's definitely a keepsake. It's not just like, oh, I got this book at the bookstore. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It was also a thing. There was a lot of people hit me up who weren't able to get it. They were like, "Yo, Kurt, you think you can make like just one more?" And I'm like, "Nah, I would love to. Well, actually, I wouldn't love to, but I wouldn't mind doing it necessarily. But it's more so like I'm almost thinking about it like I don't know how many pair of Jordans were created when they first came out, but
right.
let's just say it was 1,000, and you got one of the 1,000. As
Yep.
soon as 1,001 comes out, then it devalues everything else that all the other shoes. So
Yep.
um, yeah, that's maybe a hefty comparison, but once nighttime storage becomes a bigger thing, the
Mm-hmm.
people who have those first 25, I think, are gonna have like a valuable piece.
Yeah, absolutely. It actually makes me think of even like artists out here,
Yeah,
painters, photographers, they have a certain number of prints and that's it. And so
yeah,
I think it definitely adds value in general. In the moment, you're like, oh, I'm one of 25 that has it. But like you said, down the line, as you become more and more famous, which we know you will, it's even bigger. It's even a bigger deal. I think the Jordan analogy was perfect.
oh, appreciate that. Well, we'll see how things pan out.
It will.
Um,
It will. It will.
appreciate it.
Man, that you said something that made me want to segue, and now I forgot what it was. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put questions in. So your process is very interesting to me because you seem to approach it more than just as an artist. I mean, more than just as an author, but as an artist.
Yeah.
You have that artistic point of view. And so I think you said on the Dragon Slayer, you also did some illustrations. Did you do illustrations for 360s?
I didn't for 360 just because the Dragon Slayer was more, I would almost describe it as like an elongated joke,
Okay.
which I still like. I think I laughed at it, whatever, but
Yeah.
I like it. But it was more of like the kind of the crude drawings could pass for this. But with this second one, my sophomore album, basically, I wanted it to feel the storytelling to really be more involved. So people can kind of start getting a sense of, oh, okay, this is what you up to. Oh, you're not just writing, just a joke. You can
Right.
actually take me through these different emotions and, get me through, a whole narrative. So
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to be able to have two old classmates do the illustrations from my art school in New York, SVA. Shout out to SVA if anybody young
Shout out
here.
to SBA. I went there for
You know,
grad school.
it, all the alma mater, throw up them fire emojis if you no, there's probably nobody here from there. But
Yeah, just us. But that's fine. That's fine.
yeah, it's
We're
all
good
good.
examples.
But yeah, so with this one, I reached out to them to get them to do the illustrations and animation, so I could just focus on the story. So yeah, so I was
Awesome.
fortunate enough to be able to have, frankly, had the resources to be able to, get that done.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, we had a question earlier asking if you had a background in art. So you touched on SVA really quick. Can you
Yeah,
talk about your background?
yeah. So I went to Cass Tech, which is worldly renowned as the best high school in Detroit. Um, number one, second to none, I think might be the motto or something like that. But so I went there and I took various like artistic classes. There was like a drafting architecture class. There was some other like almost like electrical engineer type of class. So it was very much. I see a lot of hate coming now. A lot of hate. People went
You
to
knew that was
trash.
coming, though. You knew that was
People
coming.
come from trash schools, just hate. But anyway, so I went to I took class in high school, but I never really had like I never really did like the Saturday morning art classes. I just wasn't into that. I was just like, yo, I'd rather be hooping with my boys or hanging out, playing video games, stuff like that. So then senior year, I was like, man, maybe I should apply to art school, which was like crazy. And my parents kind of looked at me like that too, like art school, like you ain't about to be in my basement,
Starving artist. That's what they always
Yeah,
think
exactly.
about.
Like
Starving artist.
Cheetos on your stomach,
Right.
45 years old, chilling. So, yeah,
I'm
so
not motivated yet. I haven't been motivated.
yeah, exactly. Mom, I promise I'm gonna get to it. So SBA was where I went to art school. That was like Hogwarts to me. I felt like I was learning all types of kind of it sounds really corny, but like I felt like I was just like learning just like the magic, like how to basically control these gifts that I have, and all that.
Yeah.
So
What was your major? Did you have a major?
Yeah, major was advertising and advertising and graphic design.
Oh.
So it was kind of simultaneously learning how to, composition skills, how to design, while also having like this kind of this creative marketing kind of approach too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, another question. What have you learned between the Dragon Slayer and 360s in regards to process?
Interesting. The process for this was a little easier because, let me not say easier. The post production aspect was easier.
Okay.
So meaning being able to take the story, get it uploaded to the different platforms, and then get it out for all you guys to see. That was easier. The actual storytelling was a lot harder because, and I'll be honest, I don't like read a ton. I read like a lot of articles. I read short stories. I read, but I don't like read like at length. Various narratives.
Yep.
So I had to get into that space before writing so that I could, frankly, just have good writing. So that took a little bit to just get into it. And I didn't realize this book was going to be so much longer than the Dragon Slayer, but I think it was the needed amount of pages.
Yeah. Did you? Oh gosh, my mind. Well, we'll just go to the next question because I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, good.
Oh, it was right here. Do.
Yeah, and I agree. I see a comment from the Drew Black. You have to, like, the reading is so key. You know, um, it's like almost you kind of have to understand like how work like it's the way you like writing, and this is not like brain science, but it's how you position the words. Like you're not creating new words per se, but it's like you're figuring out ways of putting words together, manipulating them so that it tells a story like in a whole different way. So so it's like when you read and you're seeing how someone else is telling it, is also like figuring out, okay, cool, this is my voice. Now, how do I tell it, you know, as interesting as that other person did?
Yeah,
So,
and still stay true to you and your voice.
yeah, because just like, you know, if you're sitting in a bar and you're telling a story, the way I tell it versus the way I'm seeing comments, or the way Umar tells it, or the way Brent tells it, it's a whole different thing than the way I tell it. Because
Exactly.
the way I tell it is going to be, you know, likely funnier. It's going to be more interesting. No, but um, but yeah, it's you know, you
All
gotta learn how
right.
to say it.
Saturday at Sunday School has a question. In digitized text storytelling, so like a podcast, why do you think it's still important? You know, so they're in digitized storytelling, so in podcasting. So why do you think it's still important to still make books when there's so much out there?
Why do I wait? So what's the question again?
Why do you still think? Why do you think it's important to still make books when there's so much digital things out there, podcasts and all that?
Right. I don't know. I think it's I was watching a master class the other day, and you know that title might be a little triggering, you know, to some, but I was watching a master class, and this lady was talking about storytelling and was saying how reading is one of the uh, forms of art that activates your brain the most. So basically, so I'll come back to that. In comparison, if you're watching a movie, your everything is given to you. The sonically, you know, visually, you know, everything that has been put around movie theaters to create that environment. So yeah, your imagination might be there, but it's less engaged. With a story, you have, you know, generally black words or black letter forms on a white piece of paper. So everything in your, you know, in your brain is being activated to create that story, to create that picture in your head, to like almost give you a sense of, oh, I can smell that thing now it's described. I can hear that thing, or I can touch that. You know, so it's a lot more engaging. So so I think that with books, there's still a place for it because of how it engages you a lot more than maybe, you know, something that's strictly audio or strictly visual.
Yeah, that's great. Great answer. I agree. As far as your two books, did you, once you finished The Dragon Slayer, were you immediately like, okay, now I got to start on book number two? Or did you like give yourself time to breathe? Are you on a timeline at all for yourself, or?
So I'm trying to figure out how to say this without giving away things.
Okay.
How do I say it? So after The Dragon Slayer, I felt like, yo, I got this publishing company, and you know, what's the difference between me and another publishing company? They got 1,000,000 books. I got one book, so I just need to be cranking them out. I just need to get them out, get them out, get them out, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, nah, that's not. I don't think that's the way. I think it's, you know, create the stories that make me happy, or that, you know, make me proud, and then I think it will attract other authors who will want to be under the publishing company. You know, if they want to sign with Death Row, like they can come over here, and then, you know, I make sure they take care of all their lawyer fees. You know what I'm saying? So
All that.
I was all that. So I was just looking for, you know, just telling the stories how I wanted to. So I did get into 360s a lot faster than I initially thought. But I sat with like a Google Doc, just jotting away, like, all right, cool. I need something. All right, is there something about a barbershop? Is there something about, you know, haircuts, you know, whatever. And then I kind of just got into it, you know, a little bit more. And it was like, huh, all right, 360s. But I don't have like any immediate plans, but I
Mm-hmm.
have things that I think are going to be very surprising for a publishing company that you guys are going to see soon. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, the difference between, like Top Dog Entertainment versus, I don't know, whatever bland, music label you can think of. I think it's gonna be more fun that's happening over here. So.
Okay, cool, cool. Next question. Who is your favorite author and why?
Funny. I have my phone set up on some of these books, so I hope I can grab it without completely shaking everything.
Okay. I have mine on books too. Don't worry about it.
Uh, he wrote a book called Vendetta. He's written a few
Okay.
other books, and kind of mystery thrillers has been something that I really like, just because the whole time you're wondering, yo, what happened? Who did it? Why did they do
Right.
it? They do it. That.
Yeah.
So Michael Divin has been one of the writers that I really like, and uh, I think with even writing this, actually I didn't think about it until now. In a lot of ways, 360 is a mystery, because you're wondering this whole
Yes.
time.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, how are people getting waves? Wait, why are people getting these wishes? Wait a minute, what is the main character going to get?
Yep.
What is, so you're starting to think about all these different wishes and figure it out or whatever. I see somebody say show it again. I don't know if
The
people get
book. I think they want to see the book too because it got a little
Oh,
pixelated.
oh, for real?
Yeah.
How's it look now?
Now it's good. It's good now. Yeah.
No, this is the book.
There we go. What's that one called? I can't. Vendetta. Okay. Cool. Cool. I just realized there were other questions in the question box. My bad, y'all. What have you learned from being vulnerable in your work?
Being vulnerable in your work. I think people say be vulnerable, and it's like you feel like it's only like a one-sided thing. Like, oh, I only need to open myself up to, create and let my work go to the public. But it's also being prepared for what comes back too.
Yeah.
So it's like vulnerability. There's a responsibility that's attached with vulnerability. So it's like, preparing this muscle or preparing for, it's like throwing a ball against the wall. As soon as you throw the ball, like it's gonna come back. So you gotta be kind of prepared for that. So it's been something that, my advertising work could go out and people may have seen like, commercials or whatever that I've done, but my name isn't attached to it directly unless you're some advertising, nerd or something.
Like in the credits.
But, yeah, you look through the credits and stuff. But with this book, it's like you open up the book and right there it's like Jelani Curtis. And so it's no kind of running away from it, no hiding from it. So if people are leaving bad reviews, it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to eat that.
Yeah.
You know.
What is some of the best feedback or constructive criticism you've gotten so far, or advice, either one?
I was gonna call out. I was gonna call out my dad, who he might be on there, but I called him one day and was like, "Yeah, Dad, what you think of the book?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah." He like mentioned something on the first page, and I was like, "I don't know if you actually read that, but yeah, let me know when you read it. We can chat." But now, one piece of advice that I thought was is very important is the believability. It's creating a dialogue that helps people be and stay in that world. Between dialogue and the storytelling, like you're literally painting this picture so that people can have a good understanding of where you are.
Yeah.
one of my old copywriter partners or writer partners, you know what I'm talking about, writer partners in advertising. He used to say, you know, in this regards to movies, but when you go into a movie, there's an agreement that has already been established between whatever's on the screen, like whoever's the director, you know, script writer, and you. So it's like as there, if it's supposed to be a comedy movie, then all of a sudden they do like some crazy, you know, foreign film type of thing that has nothing to do with the movie. Then it's like, all right, you broke the agreement that we had. So it's like creating that agreement and allowing for people to kind of stay in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool. What do you think is the, I guess, toughest, like you said, review or criticism where you had to be like, okay, I just got to work with it and go take it and move forward?
One of the toughest was it was like tough. It was good and tough at the same time. So, um, my girl, Kathy, she read the book like the second draft. Um, you know, like late one night, and after like 5 pages, I was kind of looking at her face, and she was like, "Huh, I don't really." I mean, and I was like, "Oh, do you have like notes?" And she went to like notes of like the first 2 pages, and after she did that, I was like, all right, stop, all right, let me," and then took those notes and then just like pretty much applied it throughout of like how to make it more interesting, you know, how to keep up like the pace. So even with that, with the excerpt that I read, it
Yeah.
was um, it was trying to find like a pace where you can where after you're reading it you kind of feel the same thing the main character is reading. So
Right.
after, you know, here going downstairs, ran downstairs, take out the garbage, pull the garbage saying out the, you know, saying blah 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 blah. Like after you're reading it, you should almost feel like you need to catch your breath before,
Right.
you know, getting back to the Murrays.
Yeah.
Um,
And I definitely think in that part, I think you did just the way, like your punctuation, your sentence flow, like all of that. I literally, like I said before, I felt it. Like I had to run outside with him, like down the stairs, bag up the trash, take it down the driveway, run back in. Like I was there for all of it. So
I was glad that came to life.
that was dope. That was dope. What do you think in this whole process so far, your biggest win? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. There's a part two of this question. So before I do this one
Yeah,
from
it's a long.
Credell, it
Yeah.
is long. Do you
Hey,
know
what
how
up?
your stories are going to end before you write them? And have you ever had to choose between endings? If so, how did you choose the best ending?
Great question.
Great
So
question.
uh, a lot of times I have no idea how it's gonna end. Um,
Just start. You know this.
just
You
start.
have enough of the story. That's dope.
Yeah. So like with the Dragon Slayer, there's like a I don't know how many people read the Dragon Slayer at all, so I don't want to necessarily spoil it. But you know, I'm just saying spoiler alert because I might spoil it. So so with the Dragon Slayer, it was the common thing that the main character would say is, "Well, I have to slay a few dragons to get to the princess." Um, so so with that being said over and over and over again, then I felt like the ending should play off of that phrase. So
Okay.
I'm not going to say what the phrase is, but it kind of played off of it.
Right.
So with 360s, one of the tough things was, you know, when you deal with wishes or any aspect that's like of like fantasy, you're already like setting up a huge, um, you already have a difficult, like you have a plane that you have to land because people are
Yeah.
like, whatever I see at the end, like this has to be amazing because wishes could literally be anything,
Yeah.
right? So you have to figure out what, or I had to figure out what would be a, you know, gratifying ending to this. So, and some of it just comes just through writing, like being
Yeah.
able to write through it, you know, go through it, and then like realizing certain, you know, realizing certain details that you could probably bring back, you know, at the end. It's kind of like, you know, you see comedy shows, and you know, at the end they may go back to a joke or
Yep.
reference a joke that they say in the beginning, and it's like, I should have saw that one coming, you know.
Right. Okay, cool. So I know earlier you mentioned how Nighttime Stories for Adults is a publishing company and will soon, if not yet, be looking for additional writers.
Yep.
So are you currently, and how can people express their interest in being writers with your company?
Right now, so on my website, I have a contact link that emails my Nighttime Stories address.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long address, but if you click on the link, it'll make it a lot easier for you. But
Okay.
the let's figure out a way to answer the question. So I'm interested in talking to different people about stories that they have. But
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing that I'm going through right now is just figuring out the best way the best way I can service their books. You know,
Okay.
so basically being able to get it out here and push it as much as possible from like a marketing standpoint and all of that. You know, I want to be able to say, if someone comes to me with a story, I want to be able to break it down. Like, all right, cool. So this is the process that we're gonna have to go through. So we're
Yeah.
gonna have to, you know, I'm gonna need to put you on a, you know, on, almost like editors do. Put you on a timeline, like when I need the manuscript, you know, what's the date that we're trying to release, what's the marketing plan, the rollout plan, you know,
Yeah.
sustaining marketing plan, like all of those things. So,
You
long
want to
story
have all
short,
that in place first, or
I'm learning better how to do that even through my own books. So right now, I'm
okay?
using my own books as like a guinea pig
Yep.
for the books to come, you know, for me to see, oh, pre-orders. That's the way you get, you know, more of those first day sales because you've been doing this lead-in process before the release date. You know,
Right.
so it's those type of things that I'm trying to learn better before I take on, you know, other people's books. But
Okay.
I'm more than happy to talk about different stories, or if you got an idea that I can, you know, help put out. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so this is
Cool.
you know,
What can you? What's the website if people want to
yeah,
get in touch with
yeah. So the website is nighttimestoriesforadults.com.
you? Okay.
Or you follow night.time.stories on Instagram. If you click on the Linktree link in my bio, it'll take you to everywhere where I am. So between all the places you can find 360s to also Nighttime Stories for Adults. Something I meant to mention as well, because obviously we're all in some form of a home, um, or all 18 or 20 of us are, I believe. So because of COVID and it's, you know, tragic and drastic. So one of the things that I've done with 360s is giving a part of the proceeds to Feed the Front Lines Detroit,
Oh,
which is an organization in Detroit that helps out and services the EMS workers, Detroit police. It supports restaurants to help get their food to the frontline workers. So so it's that's something that I thought was like really key. Me being from Detroit, the story takes place in Detroit. And it's like I got to get back to the city somehow, you know.
great. That's awesome. Are you? Is there a particular period for which a portion of the proceeds are going, or is this just open ended?
Well, it's open ended right now. So before before I even got that many sales, I looked at the pre-orders. I was like, all right, you know, I see that. Let me take a percentage of the pre-orders and just donate right away. You know, so you know, sales keep coming. You know, I'll keep donating and even, you know, donate on my own, like personally. But yeah, it's
Oh,
no, it's definitely a good initiative, and it's helping the city, and that's one of the big, uh, you know, big reasons why I did this.
yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely commendable. There was another question that asked, what inspires you? So not necessarily an author like we had before, but in general, what inspires you?
Well, I was just laughing at one of the comments that I earned my bus today, which is hilarious. What did you say? You said what inspires me?
What inspires you? Yep.
Um, Man, honestly. when I wake up, like especially living out here in LA and stuff, like I go outside. I know people, take advantage or take for granted, living in a place that has great weather all the time. I wake up like just feeling gratitude. So I feel inspired, just like, all right, cool, damn, I got a new breath today. I got another chance to do something. Um,
Yep.
and I think it's like I'm inspired by like my younger self and like my older self. So it's like my younger self is like, had all these dreams and aspirations and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm like disappointing, younger Jelani, if I'm not if I'm not doing what I need to do now. And I feel like I'm disappointing older Jelani if I'm not doing what I need to do now. You know what I mean? Because it affects kind of both. Because I want to be looking back at, 55, 60 and be
Right.
able to me kicked up on the yacht with my people and like, popping bottles and doing all types of, ignorant stuff. And what I'm saying? Like so it's like I think it's the work starts now. So I get inspired by those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great answer. Let me see. I think there's one more question.
Okay.
When we touched on this a little bit, but do you know when hard copies will be available yet of 360s?
So the plan right now is the fall. So the fall time this year, like I said, fall time of this year will be putting together. I see the emojis popping through now. Oh, crazy! Yeah, appreciate y'all. The so what I plan on doing is a box set for this book. That's going to have different items in it, and I'm going to. It's like I don't want to talk so much about it, but short answer, the fall. But it's going to be, it's going to encompass a lot of stuff, and I think it's going to be equally, if not better, than the Dragon Slayer that some people in this chat have. So I'm gonna be quiet about it though.
Okay. I think we're getting low on time, but I think we should have time for this one more question. Do you have multiple projects or ventures you're focusing on right now, or is the main focus writing? How do you believe you'll be able to balance all of your business ventures?
I'm a big fan of to-do lists. I feel like
same.
I got to-do lists for everything. So I feel like measured approaches, I think you can get all the ideas done. So, I got aspirations for, not just writing, but nonprofit ventures to a television show ideas, movie ideas, stuff that's outside of writing, but to like different things. So so writing is definitely not just the only focus, and I think somehow those other things help the writing be better because I try to draw inspiration from those different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, they're telling me we have 1 minute and 50 seconds left. Excuse me. So in this, your process thus far, what do you think is your biggest win of everything?
The biggest win, my biggest win that I've had?
Yeah, or just one of those moments where you were like able to sit back and be really proud of yourself for this thing.
With 360s, I felt like as soon as it went out, it was like, no, I did that. Like somebody asked me, yo, how is the book doing? Is it a success? Is it a success? And I'm like, yeah, because I put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I put it out, and some people will never, and not to make it again like me versus somebody else, but it's a lot of folks won't dare to even try something new. So it's like, I put it out. Some people will like it, some people will hate it, some people might be somewhere in between, but yeah, it was a win just doing it. So.
Yeah. And it's like up there. It's like been on. Was it in Apple Books? It's been.
It's been holding a spot on Apple Books, best-selling fiction book, for like top 100 for like the last. This is the end of week 3, so yeah, so it's still been up there, yeah.
Well, congratulations on everything. I'm super excited to know you. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
Made me put on a shirt today. Like I haven't put on.
And your shirt looks great. Okay, it looks great. All right, everyone, make sure if you don't follow Jelani already. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you for your questions. And hopefully I will see you next week for In Conversation With. Bye.
Later.